Howdy, Desert Boy here. Hey, we've been talking about the Ruger New Vaquero and 45 Colt that I have that has a convertible cylinder for 45 ACP. But what about, just having say a Pieta or a Uberti, or in my case, I have a Taylor's and Company, which is they take and they usually modify. Oftentimes they tune the trigger, they do some other finish to it. To a Uberti or maybe a Pieta. Mine was a Uberti. I'm not sure if they do Pietas. I think they do. But so I have this, happens to be a 1873 Cattleman II is what they call it now on their website. They just call them Cattleman. And it has an antiqued steel finish, okay, and an antiqued walnut finish, so that it looks like maybe you were just walking through this ghost town and you saw some of this kind of sticking out of the dirt. You go, oh man, what a find, so they give you that kind of feel. Texturing, very weathered kind of look. They call this their antique finish. Same with these nice walnut grips they have on there, right? Nice walnut grips. All kind of beat up. So let's just go ahead and we'll, in the case of this one, we got to pull it back and pull it back to the first one there. And this is not a 4-click. I think it's a 3-click if I remember right, because it's a Cattleman II. And we'll check and see that there's no rounds in here. Okay. Some people don't like that. They also don't like this new firing pin that they've put in here, which is kind of spring-loaded. And if you go back in my videos, you'll see I had some issues with that. And it turned out between that and some timing, when I first took it to the range, I think it only fired 1 or 2 rounds out of every cylinder. But that's all resolved. It works fine now. And these, because they do not have a hammer block, you want to make sure when you're loading them, there's a particular way, and you can watch a lot of different people's videos on how to do this, but you want to only load 5 rounds with the hammer and the firing pin resting on an empty cylinder in such a way that it ends up that way. That way something doesn't bump the hammer and cause an accidental discharge. So this gun here says it's 2.45 pounds, so it's probably right in the neighborhood of 40 ounces or so. It's about in the same weight as this Vaquero that I talked about. And we'll talk about the differences in them here in a minute. And just to make everybody happy, we'll open the gate on this one and once again check and make sure there's no rounds in it. Make sure everybody's happy about that. Of course, these are both single action. What does that mean? That means, of course, pardon me, that you have to cock the hammer in order to pull the trigger. It's not a double action where you pull the trigger and the gun keeps firing. They don't work that way. So, some of the differences, if you were to look at them, right, kind of look at them from the top down, to me, the Ruger looks a little wider. I don't have a width comparison. I probably should have measured it. But this one's 10.35 inches overall length. This one here's 10.25. This has a 4.62 inch barrel. I think this has a 4.75 inch barrel. Their triggers are different. If you look at the triggers, they're hammers. See how the hammer sticks up? How the hammer is on the Uberti? Then the way the hammer comes up like that on the Vaquero is different. I think some people would feel like that's not as accurate. The blade sights are a little different. overall weight of them is similar. They don't have quite the same dimensions. They're pretty close, but they're probably pretty close overall. These are both 45 Colt, but just things about the way the screws are done, the way the side plates are. Hold these up. These are kind of heavy to be holding up a lot. Try to get enough light. They look different. Trigger guards maybe are kind of similar. I think the grips are a little different in the angle of how they come down. If we were to compare those a little bit, if I can hold on to these without dropping them somehow, you can see that both kind of, I think you'd call this a plow handle type grip. They're a little different, but similar. This one, of course, has a spare cylinder. This one does not, right? And it works the same way. The cylinder comes out, so when you're cleaning it and so forth. Different finishes, but significantly, some people just really like more the look of something like this, and how it functions, without the hammer block and so forth. I think they're both nice looking guns. I mean, if you look at them, I wouldn't want to see two of these, let alone one of these pointed at me, let alone two of them. I guess some people, there's a particular styles in SAS where they allow people to have two gun holsters. And some of them, most people have a cross draw and a single draw in a lot of cases, but they have two strong side ones, and they shoot both left and right-handed. So fluting might be a little different here on how the cylinders are. But I think a lot of it's just, what do you want to do with it, Some people, they get the Vaquero because it will accommodate, standard pressure loads and things. And you can do pretty well with standard pressure loads. If you wanted something more powerful, you probably need to go to a Black Hawk frame, or a Red Hawk in 45 Colt. There's some rounds that some companies make, like Garrett, that are Red Hawk only. You can't use those in either one of these. Not only that, some of them are, the cylinders, I think, are maybe a little longer on a Red Hawk. Some of you that know might comment on that. But those rounds are Red Hawk only, and they're only made for a gun that's machined for that. These guns are not made to do that. So I just like the 45 Colt round. I think I'm not a reloader yet. I'm working on it, but you can do a lot with how you load those. You can use black powder rounds. You can do all kinds of different things if you want. And the 45 Colt's is a venerable load. It's decent load. So for hunting or for defense. So anyway, kind of a large gun to carry around, but there's ways to do it. So I'm sorry I'm not better at maybe telling you more about the history of them and everything, but I think that it's just kind of personal preference, I kind of like having the Vaquero because I like having a single action that does have a hammer block in it. If I want to be, probably if I was carrying it, I would prefer to carry that gun versus the other one, but the other one works fine too. It just depends on where your comfort level is and how familiar you are, along with all the training and so forth. And remember, you always need to be practicing with any of them. Of course, since this one is convertible, there's an extra cylinder. It's a different round, but you do have an extra cylinder you can put in there versus having to eject all the other ones. So something to think about. So as Reed Edger Boy always says, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye now.